absolute value first. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8. And I'll have the absolute value of, why did I change colors? I don't know. I'm going to go back to my blue. I'm going to have the absolute value of 3x minus 11 is greater than or equal to and negative 2. I am going to solve this question, but then I'm going to talk about a little bit of a shortcut. Actually, a bit of a shortcut. But I'm going to get through it first. Okay, so now I'm ready to set up my cases. Case 1, just drop the bars. Great OR. So this is an OR again. 2 switches, the direction of the symbol and the sign of the number. Case 2 has 2 changes. So we solve. Add 11, so 3x is greater than or equal to 9. And divide by 3x is greater than or equal to 3. And on the other one, add 11. 3x is less than or equal to 13. And divide by 3, and x is less than or equal to 13 thirds, which is 4 1/3. So make sure you know that that falls to the right of 3. If I do my helper graphs, I have greater than or equal to 3 and less than or equal to 13 thirds. Because this is an OR, and OR is a union means to combine it all together. So if I take all these numbers from my 2 green graphs and put them together, I'm going to get everything. And my answer is all real numbers. Now, I go back and look. Right before I set my cases up, after I divided by the 8, I know this answer without having to do absolutely any work at all, without having to do a helper graph. Because, look, an absolute value is always what? Positive. So whatever you put here and take its absolute value, it's going to be a positive. And a positive is always going to be bigger than a negative 2. So when I looked at this right here, I knew the answer without solving is all real numbers, because every single positive number is going to be greater than or equal to a negative 2. So when I solve that, if you recognize something like this, this is not necessary. All I can do is go to my graph and my final number, or my final answer, if you can recognize that. If not, work it out. It's not a big deal. But it is something that you can see the answer possibly before you do any work. Okay? Okay, the next one here. These are the absolute value bars, actually. So even though it may not look like it, this one's ready to set up. The absolute value, whether it's how small or big, it's got a lot of stuff in it. This is ready to go. So I'm going to set it up. Case 1 looks exactly the same, just drop the bars. So 1 minus the quantity 3 minus 2x less than 18. Less than is an and. And then case 2, 2 changes. Nothing on the left changes. You switch the direction of the symbol and the sign of the number. So case 2 has 2 changes. Direction of the symbol, sign of the number. So now we solve. 1 minus 3 plus 2x. Get rid of those parentheses. Put your 1 minus 3 together. So negative 2 plus 2x is less than 18. Add your 2. 2x is less than 20. And divide, and x is less than 10. Same algebra on the other side. Exactly. On the left here, same operations. Put your numbers together. add your 2, you just get a different number here, negative 16, and then divide by 2, and x is greater than negative 8. And again, from here on, it's like we already did. Hypergraphs optional. Less than 10, greater than negative 8. And is an intersection. An intersection is what's common. What's the same word as the graphs? Overlap each other. And we're getting a dumbbell here between negative 8 and 10. Do not forget how to write that answer. I use my smaller number first, and then my larger number, x in the middle. And if you do that, then the symbol should point both to the left side. If you switch these numbers, they're going to point the other way. Okay? So every dumbbell answer should have this kind of writing for the algebra answer. Okay, and our last one. And on this question, people commonly miss this question. A lot of points on this question because they do not isolate the absolute value. You have to get the absolute value by itself first. So, there's my bars. Algebraically, if I am isolating that absolute value, that's like my variable term, your first step is not to divide by 4. It's not to take 5 plus 4 and get 9. If I wrote this like this, none of you would miss it. Not a single person. If that was my question, there's no way any of you would do 5 plus 4. Not a one of you. I know you wouldn't. But yet, when I give this question, people want to go 5 plus 4. Okay? It's really the same question. I've just changed my variable term to look a little bit differently. Okay? It's the same exact question. So on this one, do not add 5 and 4. Subtract your 5 first. Then divide by your 4. The other thing people miss is what I just kind of wrote myself there and I had to correct. They think their absolute value bar is a 1. So instead of making that a 2, they count it as a 12. Okay, so be careful. If you know you're kind of sloppy, be careful. Okay, so 2 minus 3x is greater than 4. Now I'm ready to set up my cases. If you had set up your cases at the beginning of this question, that's like minus 8 points before I grade anything else. Okay? Isolate the absolute value. I can't say it enough. Case 1 looks exactly the same. Great or, so this is an or. And then case 2, 2 switches. The direction of the symbol and the sign of the number. Change nothing on the left side. So then I solve. Subtract your 2. Negative 3x is greater than 2. Divide by negative 3. Ding, ding, ding. I divided by that negative, so I switched my inequality. And on the other one, I'm going to subtract 2. 3x is less than negative 6. Divide by negative 3. Ding, 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 ding. I'm going to switch the direction of that inequality symbol. My guess is that's a lot of you, maybe not everybody. When they already see this, they know it's a split graph. You might not have to do hypergraphs, and that's wonderful. That's fantastic. If you already know, don't do them. Not every OR is split, but the majority of our ORs are split graphs. So less than 2/3, greater than 2, union that together, and I get exactly what I just said. Less than 2/3 and greater than 2, or greater than 2. And then your algebra answer is what you get with the word or between them. The word or is part of every split graph. The main two things. Isolate the absolute value before you set up your cases. And then get in your mind right now, before the super goal, that absolute value is 2 cases. Okay, the 2 biggest mistakes made on these questions. Okay? All right.